reporting. And to discuss, let's bring in Gary Gerstenfeild. He's a criminal defense attorney. Glad to have you and your expertise on this. So in your estimation, did the judge make the right call?
This is the second time that the Judge Sinclair has been asked to make this call. This was a second time because a new set of prosecutors were brought in on the case. They basically filed the same type of charges. They modified them a little bit, so the ruling today was not a surprise. The basic decision from the judge is that youth, alcohol, and stupidity, unfortunately, at least for the family, does not equate to involuntary manslaughter.
Gary, you know, defense lawyers had argued that the frat members would not have known how serious the condition of Piazza was, that they are medical doctors, that they couldn't even tell really how badly he needed medical attention. But then you have the cover-up as well. So how do you square that?
Well, they're kids and they were all drunk, so they're trying to cover up, much like kids do when they get in trouble. Do they know how serious trouble they are? Well, they're underage. They know that. They know there's a lot of alcohol. They know that Timothy Piazza is the boy that unfortunately died. They know that he's very sick, and they know they're going to get in trouble. So they're hiding evidence to basically try to get out of trouble. But no, I don't believe there's enough evidence here. As Judge Sinclair ruled, there's not enough evidence here to go forward with a manslaughter charge. They still have the reckless endangerment charge, basically the same basic theory, which is a reckless disregard. The difference between the two, which is, again, both carry the component of recklessness, but one is recklessness resulting in death. That would be the manslaughter charge. So we still have the recklessness in terms of endangerment, and that's going to go forward against the 5 as well as the other boys.
I hear you when you say that they're kids, they were drunk, they were stupid, but these are college students. They're over 18. I mean, they can go into the military, they can vote. So when you see that they waited 12 hours before calling for help on this, doesn't it sit strangely with you?
Absolutely. Look, these kids are still in trouble, and they are still facing some very serious charges. It's just they're not facing a manslaughter charge. And this is the second time that this case has been brought to the judge, and there's been a second set of prosecutors, and they had an opportunity to present whatever additional evidence they wanted to present. But still, again, the judge's ruling is that, look, this behavior may be very serious. These kids are still in a lot of trouble. And I call them kids because they're still young people. But it doesn't rise up enough to the level of a homicide, which is what we're talking about when we talk about manslaughter.
Gary, if you're a prosecutor on this case, are you feeling defeated here? I mean, the most serious charges thrown out. You're left to deal with essentially misdemeanors here.
Well, I mean, that's a question ultimately I think as a prosecutor you have to wrestle with is that, you know, are you going to be accused of overreaching? You know, prosecutors prosecute cases. Everybody has their own optics when they're looking at a case and they're trying to decide what they want to do. I mean, Penn State's been in the news for so many different things. It's had so many problems that this is just sort of one more problem that's being added to the list. They're trying to pursue this as aggressively as they can because, well, what they're trying to do is create a safe environment, a safe university. And you're absolutely right. This does not sit well with people. This is an unfortunate situation, and nobody's going to walk out of this case at all a winner. I mean, this is a question of how much culpability or how much liability these kids are going to actually be facing. And for now, the call by the judge is they're not facing the homicide charge of manslaughter, but they're still facing charges that, as was indicated in the introduction, could put them in jail for several years.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if other fraternities and other universities learn something from this and possibly change their own ways that they haze. All right, Gary Gerstenfeild, a criminal defense attorney, thanks again for coming on our show.